Hi guys, this is Final Finds 37, 8 or something like that anyway, I don't remember anyway. Not that it matters. It's been a couple of weeks since my last update. I have been busy Final B and I've bought some stuff. Not that as many as last time, and the reason being that I've been expecting some stuff through the mail that haven't arrived yet. Annoyingly, because some of them are back orders and stuff like that. However, I did go to the shops, I did buy some things, and I bought some things online that did come through. So anyway, it's a very mixed bag of stuff, and it's like a very unusual kind of update in some ways, I guess. And yeah, let's start off. So first of all, first one starts off with a thank you to Chris Basket 4127. Chris 4127 Basket, actually. That's the the username. I think I probably screwed up the numbers, but Chris Basket it is. So thank you very much for showing this. This is Batumi, South African spiritual jazz slash Afrobeat slash whatever you want to call it, really. Amazing record. Very limited. 500 copies have been repressed, and I was really lucky to get it in the shop, and I found it for a fairly good price. Now, fairly good price is still steep, and for Americans especially, it was £25. So that means that it was what, $45 or something. Yeah, it's not cheap, and I couldn't find it any cheaper anyway. I mean, I looked up after the video Chris put on, showed this. I looked it up on Spotify. You can check it on Spotify, really worth it. And I found it, I was like, wow, I have to get the vinyl. Found it on Discogs, it was much more expensive, and I sort of said, I would let this one go. Went to a shop, found it there. I was like, it was Christina Records, actually, in Dalston, and it was the only place I would think that, yeah, that place would probably have a copy, and it did have a copy. And funnily enough, when I was paying and leaving, there was this guy that was trading records, and he left another couple of copies as well. So I don't know whether these copies still are in the shop. If anybody is interested, I will probably go there tomorrow. I will be in the area. So if you're interested, let me know and I will just check it out. By the way, Andreas, British Thunder, I did go to one or two record shops after record store day, but I couldn't find your LP. Sorry about that, mate. Yeah, this is a post record shop day video as well, but I didn't bother. I went to the I went to the record shops on Thursday before, and I went to one record shop the Sunday after the record store day, but I didn't bother. I mean, no, yeah. There were some things that I might have been interested in, but yeah, really, I mean, queue forever, and yeah, nah, not for me. Anyway, the day before record store day, the Thursday before record store day, I went to the actual shops, and I went to Sister A, I went to Record Exchange, and some other ones that are in that sort of Soho area, and I was really pleased to find this one, Loic Miller and Heliocentrics OST, double LP on Strut, and Chris Basket also showed this one. I have shown it before, but not the actual vinyl, because I didn't have it. I just shown the art on Spotify, and I wanted to buy it for a year now. I went shopping with a DJ friend of mine, and he got the last copy, and I was like, oh fucking hell, he's going to ruin the bloody record. What a disappointment. And I could find it for £17 or something. Then I went to Sister A and they had it for $9.99, which is very cheap for UK prices. And I got a copy. It's just amazing jazz, electronic. I don't know. I cannot really place it anywhere. Loic Miller is jazz player. He plays Eastern influenced instruments, and that's what he's known for. The Heliocentrics are more of an electronic band, I guess, but this is a bloody brilliant album, highly recommended. So this is the jazz slash spiritual jazz slash world music, I guess, in sort of sense. Now we're going to the 80s. No, maybe I shouldn't go into the 80s. Maybe I should show the only record that I want to show from the 60s. Or is it from the 60s? I guess it is. 68. Yeah, I am correct. Yes. So, it's this one. Sandy Bull, E Pluribus Unum, 2 long tracks from Sandy Bull. And this one, I think Tony has shown this. And I was introduced to Sandy Bull from Infinite Groove, and he was like, what the hell have you been living all this time? I mean, Sandy Bull, amazing, fantastic. Big Star was like, oh yeah, amazing, fantastic, go get it. And yeah, I was like, alright. I found some reissues, and sure enough, I just picked one that reminded me of something. I think Tony has shown this one, and yeah, can't go wrong, really. Really nice reissue as well, heavy cardboard, nice pressing, quiet. A bit expensive, but well, yeah. And now let's go to the 80s. Yes, 80s. Now, funnily enough, I always wanted to get the Tubeway Army LPs, and I went to. They have been reissued by a company called what's it called? Vinyl 180, and I went to their online site, and they had a sale. And I was like, oh, fantastic! I can get replicas for £12, and you know. Pleasure Principle was sold out, unfortunately, so then I went to Amazon. I could find it for £17, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do, leave it. Next day I went to FOP, and there was a stack, and it was the sale that they had online was in FOP. So I found replicas for £10. Fantastic, really good reissue, comes with an insert, heavy insert by the way, it's not like thin paper. My only gripe about this is the label, which is vinyl 180. Instead of doing, you know, a replicate, sorry, trying to emulate it with the original one, which is, you know, just a nice. It would have been a nice touch, to be honest. But yeah, otherwise. No gripes, really nice. I wanted to get it for ages and ages and ages. I also got the first Tubeway Army, another 10-pounder, and I got full Destination Saving Grace for £10, which I could find for £17 at the same shop, which is really nice. And going to 80s dream pop slash, anyway, essential pop, I guess, indie pop of the 80s. The Cocteau Twins, really nice reissues from 4AD, yes. Memory does serve me right. Head Over Heels, and the Treasures LP, really nice LPs, and you know the Cocteau Twins are just, you know, very ethereal kind of pop music. Also, when I was picking up those, the guy behind the counter just jumped out of the counter. Well, didn't jump out, just went out of the counter and went to another stack of records. And he picked up 2 of them, and he came to me and he gave them to me and said, you know, you have to have these. I mean, these are cut price, silly cut price. They were going for £3. And he said, you know, these are expensive usually, and I don't know why they put them for £3, but have them. I was like, alright, okay. I knew the names of the bands. I'm not very familiar with their music, sadly, but I was like, alright, £3, if he recommends it, he must have a reason. I mean, he saw that we picking up all the 80s stuff. And the first one of them was a certain ratio, which is live at Groningen, 26/10/1980. Excuse me. So really nice. Cannot really place their music anywhere. Again, it's a little bit all over the place, but really nice album. However, the next one just blew me away, and I'm ashamed to say I didn't know that much about this album, this artist slash group, band, whatever you want to call it. And I knew about them because they were in Factory Records. I knew that it was one of the first Factory Records that came out. I knew that it had the sandpaper on it, and it was like, you know, a joke kind of homage to the Situationists. Then it was the record that would ruin all the other records that you had. But I've never actually, I don't think that I've actually listened to any of their music or his music. It's a Durutti column, and it's Bread and Circuses. And this record just blew me away, guys. I mean, this is the best £3 I've ever spent for a record. It's hard to pin down, pretty much the same way as with certain ratio, but it is very individual, kind of very atmospheric, very, again, you know, words do not fit, you know, it doesn't give you the whole picture, if you know what I mean. It's very accessible, that's what I can say, but at the same time it's very individual, it's very personal kind of music, and it's a kind of music that doesn't fit into very easily placed genre, you know, boxes, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. I mean, it's highly recommended. If you come across this, just pick it up. I will definitely be trying to get some more of Durutti column. His catalog is quite big, sadly. Or, you know, for the best or whatever you want. But yeah, it has a big catalog of stuff that he's put out. But this is amazing. This is highly recommended. And you know, pretty much with Sandy Bull, yeah, I've been living in a cave, guys. I haven't listened to Durutti column, at least not that I know of. And yeah, pick it up if you can find it. If you can find it for £3, oh, let me, fucking hell yeah, get it. Now we're going into, let's stick to the 80s actually, because, but completely different genre and completely different kind of thing going on. Two new wave of British heavy metal albums that I wanted to buy just for the hell of it, because TT Alert, it's the Witchfinder General, Death Penalty, and Witchfinder General, Friends of Hell. Thursday before Record Store Day, I went to HMV, and they have a really nice, neat, clean looking, you know, looked after record selection. Quite expensive reissues actually, some new stuff. Most of them are very expensive. I didn't find anything that I wanted from the, you know, pop rock, whatever you want to call it, section. But they had a very neat heavy metal section, and that's where I got these from. And they were quite inexpensive, relatively, you know, if thinking, you know, UK terms, because they were a lot of Back to Black reissues, and these were two of them. I wanted to buy them, you know, classic new wave of British heavy metal. This is really good. This is not as good. It has a cheesy ballad as well, but you know, I just wanted to have them. It's like, you know, one of those things. I was reading magazines and whatnot, and back in the day, and I was like, oh, you know, this is like very essential. It was at the time when that compilation from Lars Ulrich came out, the new wave of British heavy metal, and had one of the Witchfinder songs there, and you know, there was a big thing in 1989, I think, when, you know, people were trying to find old new wave of British heavy metal records like Raven and whatnot. So yeah, I'm really happy to get them. And this is another record from the 80s, and this is another record that I found out about from other bands, and basically from just looking at the inner sleeves and looking at, you know, the t-shirts that they were wearing. And you know, usually they would support other bands by wearing their t-shirts. So this is Batumi playing in the background, by the way. Now And you know, I was like, you know, all these death metal bands I was listening to at the time, they were wearing Hellhammer t-shirts, and I think Sepultura were one of them. So it's this one, Apocalyptic Raids, classic proto death, no, proto black metal. I'm sure that River will have something to add to that, but I think that this accurately describes this. Came out in 1984. They're from Switzerland, I think, and it's hilarious. Look at this guy. Look at this guy with an axe. I mean, just silliness, really. Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, man. I mean, you know, Sepultura have them on T-shirts. Other guys were having them. You know, the death metal bands at the time, they had T-shirts on. This guy here. It's like, you know, if they support, you know, they believe that this is a good record to have it on a T-shirt, I need to get it. I actually did find a reissue copy, obviously, because, you know, even in 1989, 88, I don't know, you probably wouldn't get the original. But I was a bit disappointed, reason being that it is proto black metal, so it's sort of a version of Venom's first album. I actually, at the time, I liked the second album, which was black metal, and I didn't like the first one. What is it? I don't remember. Anyway, I liked the second album, which was much more heavy metal kind of thing, whereas the first album was more punk, had a more punk feeling. Now it's the other way around, and I actually enjoy this one. I really like this one, and you know, I'm happy to get it because it's something from my teen years, and I actually sold the copy, which is really sad. But yeah, there you have it. So Hellhammer, Apocalyptic Raids, and it was quite cheap as well, 14 quid. You know, can't go wrong, I guess. And now let's go to something more modern. Blood Ceremony, obviously it has been shown before. This is the second album. What is the name? Living with the Ancients, from Rise Above. Has been, you probably are aware of them. They're like, you know, heavy doom with a little bit of flute in there, like a little bit of Jethro Tull, organ, female vocals, and they're very repetitive. I mean, if you listen to the first album and this album, you will not find a lot of differences, which is odd to say because this is one of the. You'll understand anyway. Yeah, you won't find many differences. A little bit, you know, the same kind of thing. The good thing about it is like it's very consistent and it's quite nice. I like the female vocals. I think that she's not a very good singer, but I prefer a mediocre female singer to a bad male singer in this kind of music because you can get it completely wrong with vocals, and that's a big problem with heavy music, especially if it's not like, you know, guttural and kind of thing. So yeah, it's not bad at all. It's quite good. I think I prefer the first album to this one, but you know, it's all about taste, I guess. And now this is the funny bit, because I was saying that, you know, these guys are repetitive, and I got two albums from this band. One already new. River has shown the first, well, it's not the first, it's the second album, and it's this one, Beyond the Permanent Frost by Skeletonwitch. Brilliant thrash death metal. I think it's death metal, to be honest. Has melodic passages. Has melody. It is the perfect thrash metal, thrash / death metal album, in my opinion. If these guys were on, you know, had released this in 89, 90, they would be like, you know, I would have posters on the wall and T-shirts and the whole bit. Fantastic. Highly recommended if you like the genre, of course. Out on Prosthetic Records. This is 500 copies, I think. Get them while you can, because this is good shit. And this is the third album, which is Breathing the Fire. River said that they're very consistent. I have to agree. And one of the, it's really funny because on one hand I said that, you know, it's, and I was thinking about it, that Blood Ceremony, for example, they're very repetitive. They're pretty much the same from record to record, whereas these guys do try to make a difference in what they're playing. And my gripe was that, oh, you know what, I was expecting volume 2 of Beyond the Permafrost, which is, you know, contradicting, really. That's human nature. It's contradicting, isn't it? Anyway, what I want to say is that yes, they have slightly evolved the sound. They're slightly different in a good way, and I guess it just needs to grow on me, because the first one, the second one anyway, Beyond the Permafrost, I think it's like the perfect album. I mean, you know, I wouldn't go back to listen to thrash / death metal bands again, but these guys are really worth it. And you know, I'm used to listen to that stuff anyway, so you know. But yeah, it's a really good album. Highly recommended. Also, interestingly, and this is about this will interest anybody that's from the UK. I got this from Amazon, and Stevie Jew, you have mentioned that you paid customs. I have paid customs. I didn't pay customs for this one. Now, there is a reason why we paid customs, and what's going on with the Amazon, you know, from other sellers that is like half price or something, because this was 14 quid, and if you actually bought, well, you couldn't find it here, but I think that if you did, it would be something like £20 or something, £25, I don't know, something like that anyway. So what happens is that there was legislation that allowed purchases that were below £15 that came through Channel Islands, the Channel Islands, not to pay VAT. And Tesco, which is like Walmart in the US, they were taking advantage of this, and they were buying, you know, in bulk CDs and DVDs and whatnot, and they were, you know, selling them cut price. And you know, it was a loophole, really. Now, you know, it's not a big deal if it's like, you know, some consumers buy it, but it's a big deal if, you know, big companies do it, because they're just tax avoidance, really. So they close the loop, and when you buy, you don't get it. You don't get that tax deduction. You have to pay VAT, which means that it has to be stopped at customs, which has a fee, and you pay VAT on top of that, which doesn't make it viable. However, I didn't pay VAT on this one, and the reason is that if you look at the seller name, it has to have UK next to it. That's my understanding, or it has to be well below £15. I paid £12 for Low's album, and that was something like £17, whereas everything else that was below £15 I didn't have a problem with. Just in case you need to have it from, you know, it has to say UK, something UK, the seller. If it says US, it's a little bit dodgy. I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, and also the other thing is that the ones that are from the US, I've seen the stickers on it, and it says LAX. Now, how come, you know, something comes from the US with £26 postage? I don't know, guys. I wish I knew, but it had LAX on it, which means it's LA, obviously. The ones that I got now, this one, for example, and the next one I'm going to be showing, they were from the UK. So, Stevie Jew, anyone from the UK buying, you know, keep that in mind. Next one is a vinyl upgrade, which I have the CD. This is J Mascis from Dinosaur Jr, obviously, paying homage to the 70s, you know, heavy rock heroes like, you know, Black Sabbath and whatnot, and doing a fucking good job out of it. Highly recommended on TP Records. This comes really cheap as well. You can find it cheap, you know, almost everywhere, I think, and just amazing. It's bloody amazing record. Yeah, no words. If you're into that kind of stuff, 70s heavy rock music, this is the album for you. And finally, a record that I'm a little bit not sure about it. Not sure. It's good, but I shouldn't like it. How can I say? This is Ancestors, the second album. It's called In Dreams and Time. Double LP, I found it really cheap on in HMV. It was £14. I was like, oh, okay, it's TP Records. It's a good indication. I've listened to the first album as well, and I didn't like it that much. This I enjoy much better, I have to say. And it is really weird because it has a download, and I'm listening to it usually when going to work or coming back from work. I've listened to it quite a bit, and it reminds me of 70s hard rock bands. 70s hard rock progressive bands. It's really weird kind of sounding, and the sound is quite unexpected. There are bits of it that I don't enjoy that much. I can see the appeal for some people, but it's not 100% for me. There are some songs that I really like. I don't remember them though. So anyway, quite interesting, quite interesting LP. So yeah, that's it. Heavy metal, jazz, synth pop, whatnot. Pretty much a little bit of everything. And yeah, that's my update. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you like. Like, dislike, leave comments, leave cuss words, anything that you think that is appropriate for this video, and enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.